Hey, good morning to everybody. A happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's about 8 o'clock here in Connecticut on the East Coast. As you can tell, my mood is a little different. All right, just on Fox News, Channel 61, there was a story about a Wallingford teacher being fired. Kahseim Outlaw. Okay, and he has issues. Both personal and religious, he said, as far as getting vaccinated. Okay, and so I'm not sure what grade he teaches, but he's not allowed on the school grounds, and he's been fired, apparently, for not going along with this vaccination, getting vaccinated. I don't want to, I just want to give another perspective. As you can tell, I was just in the middle of a workout, and this really struck me. It really hit me hard. I just want to present another perspective on this. Like I said, this is a Wallingford teacher. It's a story on Fox 61, Kahseim Outlaw, Wallingford, Connecticut. He sounds a lot like my ex-girlfriend, my best friend who just passed away, Audrey. It was the exact same reasons. They probably went to the same church. I'm just guessing here. I believe it's Thrive Church in Connecticut. I believe there's one in Plymouth. Like I said, and I went to the church myself. Audrey wanted me to go, and at Christmas time, a year or two back. And I was glad for her because this was part of her recovery. And just because personally, I have faith myself. I feel more comfortable with the religion I grew up with, Roman Catholicism. But I was still open to going to this church and everything. And I don't know if this is part of their teaching or not, but she sounded a lot like Kahseim here. I just want to present this other perspective. After Audrey got sick and went in the hospital, I remember a post she posted that it's in God's hands, and I'm guessing here, but I don't think she foresaw this outcome, and I'm guessing maybe Mr. Outlaw doesn't realize what can happen. The seriousness of this. I'm sure he'll say he does. Just in June, I sat down with Audrey, and she said, she doesn't trust the vaccine. Same reasons that Mr. Outlaw presents. And, and I learned a long time ago that, I respected Audrey. Even though we have very different political beliefs, I respect her beliefs. So I didn't argue with it. And within a week of getting to Jacksonville, she got sick. And it was, another week later, she was in the hospital. Not shortly after, she was in ICU. She was intubated. Her lungs collapsed. This all happened within 6 weeks. I don't know. I don't know if she would have chose that same path. I think even when she said this, it's in God's hands. I don't know if she realized how right she was. Here's the perspective I want to present, though, to people. I just want to present my perspective. I know her family is very strong on faith, too. I still text back and forth with her sister. And it hurts. We're in a lot of grief and a lot of pain. Losing her left a huge hole in our lives that's never going to go away. Every single day. It's been 6 or 7 weeks, and it hurts. The grief is there. It's changed my life. It's changed a lot of people's lives. Losing her. I don't know if this was God's will. It's just my opinion, but I have a hard time believing that it was God's will that people don't get vaccinated and just pass away when it doesn't need to be this way. me and everybody else has been vaccinated, there doesn't seem to be any, just like polio, just like everything else, the other 7 things that we were vaccinated against as kids, you know, it saved our lives. It's prevented us from suffering a very unpleasant and short life and unpleasant death. You know, and like I said, I'm trying to walk a fine line here between respecting other people's religious beliefs and personal beliefs. And I just want them to be aware that it's not just about their personal freedoms, you know, and it's not, you know, and maybe a lot of them say, well, it's, you know, if it's God's will, if I pass. And I can't help but think, you know, they just have a very clean, quick image of if they passed, you know, that they somehow pass as a martyr, believing in what they believed in. But it's not like that. It was a very unpleasant, painful, and I didn't even get to see her, but I knew what was going on in the ICU, the intubation and everything else, the MRSA. I mean, it was brutal, painful passing, and it's left a big, painful hole in a lot of people's lives. And I have a hard time finding a reason. It's, you know, God's reason isn't for me to know, I guess, but I don't know how this could be a good thing when it's preventable, when it's easily preventable. And I just don't see, you know, I'm not here to argue, but I don't see any solid reasoning in religion or in the Bible against getting vaccinated. Everybody else, we all got vaccinated, like I said, with polio and everything else. To be honest, it seems like a pointless death that's caused a lot of pain and a big hole in everybody's life. It's changed all of our lives. It's not just about your freedom and your constitutional belief. You know, this is the reality of it. And Mr. Outlaw is a teacher, you know, and that brings up a whole other set. You know, I saw how easily Audrey contracted this. You know, I just picture in my head, I wonder every single day, I wonder, was it a gas station which she walked into and she just breathed it in a gas station? Was it the hotel she stayed at? Was it something she touched? Because it happened, you know, it's real, you know, and it happened quick. Mr. Outlaw is a teacher, you know. You know, the same thing, I don't see how, you know, the same thing could happen. And how many kids are in his classroom? And that's a whole nother situation. Is this God's will? It's not for me to question, but I just wanted to present the side that there's a big hole, a big loss. There's a lot of pain. These people may pass with their beliefs intact and their faith and their beliefs intact, but they're leaving behind a wake of pain and loss and hurt that the rest of us all have to live with. Just presenting my side of it for Mr. Outlaw in Wallingford, Connecticut, and anybody else that just, you know, not here to argue, just what's my perspective. Have a good Tuesday.